Dr. Nina at the Barefoot Rehab Clinic. Let's talk about the anatomy of your rotator cuff. A lot of people think that the rotator cuff is just one thing, but I'm going to illustrate to you that that's not true. So first, we have to talk about what makes up the shoulder joint itself, which bones make up the shoulder joint, right? So first, we have our wing bone, which is called the scapula, right? That shoulder blade, wing bone, scapula. And then we have our humerus, which is our arm bone, right? Like that. And this makes up your shoulder joint, the bones. These are the bones that make up the joint of your shoulder. As you can see from this illustration, the head of the humerus or your arm bone is round, and where it comes into contact with the scapula, it's flat. And I'm sure that you're thinking to yourself, well, that's not a very intelligent design, because how is it supposed to be stable if where it comes into contact with each other, they don't fit together, right? So that's where the rotator cuff comes in. The rotator cuff is made up of 4 muscles. We remember them in medical school as SITS, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and the subscapularis muscle. The supraspinatus, as you might have already imagined, lies superior to the spine of the scapula. The spine of the scapula is just an extension of our acromioclavicular joint. It's part of the part of the scapula that makes up the acromion, which articulates with our clavicle here, okay? So the supraspinatus lives on the back side of our wing bone, so the back here, right there, superior to that spine of the scapula, and he comes and he inserts there onto the humerus. Our infraspinatus muscle, as you could imagine, is inferior to the spine of the scapula. So supraspinatus up here, infraspinatus is down here, and it covers basically the entire back of your scapula. So this would be your infraspinatus muscle. It also attaches onto the humerus there. The smallest of your rotator cuff muscles is called the teres minor, and he is also on the back side of your scapula, right in this little area right here. And he, right there, right in this little area, also inserts onto the head of the humerus. And then, arguably one of the largest of all of your rotator cuff muscles actually lines the front of your shoulder blade and comes into contact with the back of your ribs here. So that's called the subscapularis. And that muscle lines the entire front surface of the scapula, and he also inserts in the similar area on the head of your arm bone. Every single one of your rotator cuff muscles has its own job to do. The supraspinatus is one of your primary stabilizers, and it also assists in this motion here, bringing your arm up, right? The infraspinatus is actually your primary muscle of your rotator cuff, allowing for multiple types of motion, including this kind, and coming out here, and rotating, and throwing a ball. So the infraspinatus is arguably our, most used of our rotator cuff muscles, the most important one that we have. But they're all important in their own ways. Teres minor is a big assister in a lot of different muscle movements of our shoulder. And then the subscapularis, its major job is going to be anything with rotation. You bring your arm up here and you do some rotation. Subscapularis is helping us do that. Subscapularis is helping us do that. It also helps us maintain our arm in an upward position like this, out here like this, and if we rotate again, like I said, it's going to be helping us do that motion. So now you have a better understanding of the anatomy of the rotator cuff and why it's important, and I hope you continue reading the blog post here, and we'll talk kind of more about the rotator cuff and what happens when it becomes unhealthy, what we can do to treat it because it won't heal on its own, to keep it from becoming a frozen shoulder potentially, or having muscle atrophy, or maybe even a tear, which could land you needing surgery, and we don't want that. Keep on reading. Thanks. Bye.